Hello, Rovers fans, and good evening. It's me, Ryan Hildred from Rovers Chat, bringing you another live edition of On the Other Side. After a disappointing defeat last time out, I hope we're all over that now and we can look forward to the next game on Saturday. And it is, of course, Swansea City. And I'm delighted to be joined by Reese from the Swans Away Days YouTube channel. How are you, Reese?
Really good, thanks. Glad to be here and looking forward to speaking about the game.
No, thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to your insight on Swansea City as well. Before we get started, Rovers fans, just a reminder, we are sponsored by 6yardsout.com.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.
Thanks once again to 6yardsout.com. It was a losing start for the Mug against in our last game out, and hopefully for this one going forward we can get to a winning start against Swansea. Just a reminder to everyone, please follow us on Twitter if you are not following us, Rovers_chat on Twitter. And of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Rovers Chat, and you can stay up to date with all of our content. And indeed, there'll be some Rovers Youth Academy content coming out tomorrow, so please keep up to date with all of that. As ever, please do hit us with your comments throughout the show. We will pick them up as we go. If you've got any questions for me or for Reese or anything about Swansea or Rovers, please give us your comments and let us know as we go, and we will pick them up. So, Reese, let's kick off with the match preview, if we can. Last season, Swansea hung on in there in that playoff picture, and you scraped into the playoffs on that amazing final day. This season, you've also started really strongly, and you currently sit in third place. I'm looking at this: 4 wins, 3 draws, and just the 1 defeat. What's the mood like within the Swansea camp at the moment?
I think the mood in the Swansea camp is a very positive one. There's a lot of young players about, and also we've got some quite experienced players, which we've brought in. I think the mood is very positive. Obviously, we've only lost 1 game in 8 so far, and I think we've took the momentum from last season and brought over to this season as well. I think Cooper, he knows a lot of these players who he's brought in from England under 17s when they won the World Cup over in India a few years ago. So he's used his links very well, and with the already experienced players we had at the club, I think it's just bonded really good, and it's really doing well, and we can see why we're doing well so far this season.
Sure. And I was looking at Swansea, this is your 3rd season back in the Championship now, 10th in that first season that you had following relegation, followed by the 6th place finish last term. Are Swansea fans really expecting a promotion push this season with that drop-off with the parachute payments and things like that?
I'm not too sure, because again, it seems to happen every summer. Of course, we've got rid of Joe Rodon, our best defender, probably my most valuable asset. So, every summer we seem to be losing our key players, but we still have some really strong players. The worrying thing is in January, of course, it's not too far now. There'll be a January transfer window, and with the likes of a lot of young players performing well and a lot of young players on loan. It happened last season as well. Sam Surridge got recalled by Bournemouth, so there's a lot of potential, which we could do well until January, and with some clubs potentially recalling players or, other people attracting interest. There's a lot of Swansea fans on the low at the minute keeping calm, because we all got excited last season. We were top of the league going into September, then we went on a massive downfall. We were on a massive not a massive downfall, but, since the international break, we didn't win it free, but thankfully we won Tuesday, and hopefully we can get some momentum again.
Sure. And you've mentioned Steve Cooper. For the last 10 years or so, I think Swansea have had that reputation for being a team that plays some really nice, attractive football. And I guess that managers like Brendan Rodgers, Roberto Martinez, Graham Potter endorse that type of approach. It was Steve Cooper's first full season last season. Has he been able to imprint his style on Swansea, or is it more of that attractive football that we're all used to?
It's not really attractive football. I think it's more of getting results, dug in results. We do get a few 1-0s now and again. I don't think it's most attractive football. It's not, as everyone says, the passing way of Swansea, like Martinez, Porter football we used to play. But the thing is with Cooper, we can play that style, but then also we can do the ugly side of the game, so we can get very physical sometimes. We sometimes take no nonsense, just get out. So, we've got a bit of we can change it up. That's what I'm trying to say. We can change it up. 1 week we can play pass football. Next week we can go physical against very physical teams. So I like what Cooper can do. He's got a few formations he can play. We're playing at this 5 at the back system at the moment with 2 wing backs, and that's doing very well. So Cooper's got his options, and it's working really well.
Sure. And then if we just look at your results in a bit more detail this season, 2 wins, a draw, and your defeat that you've had this season at home. But you have scored in all of your games, bar the 0-0 draw with Birmingham at home. However, only 2 of your games have had more than 2 goals. Is this pointing at sides that are trying to come to the Liberty Stadium and frustrate Swansea? Or are you just seeing a more conservative approach from Cooper overall?
I think it's the away sides coming to the Liberty and trying to hold out for a point. For example, if you can stop a wing backs, we're very unlikely to score. So against Birmingham, they set up, and I think it was a 5-4-1 formation, so they played the exact same formation as us. And basically, they had a man on our wing backs on each side, and we just couldn't get forward because the wing backs then were halted into the back. It was basically a back 5. So if Blackburn can come to the Liberty Saturday and stop our wing backs getting forward, then I think we're going to really struggle creatively to score. I think we'll struggle creatively because Jake Baylor, who's our left wing back, when he's got most assists this season. Connor Roberts, I think he's got the most ground cover for us this season. He's the right wing back. So our wing backs are a huge part of our game. So if Blackburn can stop that, Tony Mowbray, experienced manager, of course. So if he can stop that, then I think you could definitely get a result. And I definitely can't see a score if you do that.
Sure. And yeah, just a little bit more on the game, Reese. There's been a hell of a lot of talk on our channel and across the media, really, about Rovers' inability to break sides down, particularly when they sit back. And despite the goals that we've scored and the possession that we've had in a lot of our games, we do sometimes lack that clinical edge. What do you think Swansea's approach to the game is going to be, especially with Rovers away from home? We have looked pretty dangerous, actually, away from home. Do you think Cooper's going to be mindful of any of that?
I think he's going to be very mindful of the likes of Adam Armstrong. Obviously, I think he's one of the best strikers in the division. He's got a lot of goals in the last couple of seasons. So I think we're going to attack, but I think we're also going to be conservative. I think we're going to have 1 or 2 men back than we did against Stoke. I think, you've got Harvey Elliott, who's a very good creative player as well. So I think Cooper will have that, conservative side. I mean, he knows Blackburn could score a lot of goals. I think they're the top scorers in the division. So I think we will try and win the game, go attacking, but I also think we'll keep 1 or 2 men further back than we did Tuesday night against Stoke.
Sure. And then if we just look a bit further into your squad, the big loss for Swansea in pre-season was losing Joe Rodon to Tottenham. Have you been able to reinvest any of that money into your squad? Any notable departures, signings, etc.?
We have signed a few players. Jamal Lowe's probably the biggest signing we made, £800,000 from Wigan Athletic. He's a very pacey striker who's currently playing striker. His finishing is quite frustrating at times, but again, his pace can really cause opposition a threat. Ryan Manning from Queen's Park Rangers, more of a backup to Jake Bidwell, but he made his debut Tuesday night, and I thought he did well. Of course, he can take good set pieces, but I think the best signing we probably made was Ryan Bennett from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Free transfer, he's playing the Europa League, Premier League Championship, of course, and in the 3 games he's played in, he's looked superb. He's led that back line really well. He's a leader, he's tall as well, and he's helping the 2 young lads next to him, Maki, who's I believe 20 or 21, Agabango, who's 20. So he's really brought leadership to the 2 other centre halves, and he went off with cramp, I think, Tuesday. So fingers crossed he is fit for Saturday, because he's definitely our best defender in my opinion.
Yeah, and was Joe Rodon the only real notable departure, or did you lose anyone else?
We let like some fringe players go, but a lot of Swansea fans were annoyed. We let Christopher Peterson go, who I think he played against you last season actually, but he didn't cause too much threat. But he was a tricky winger to play against. Apart from that, we didn't really lose anyone to a club apart from Van der Horn, a very good centre half of this level. He left on a free transfer. We managed to keep hold of Kyle Norton, surprisingly. Routledge extended his contract, Nathan Dyer left. So I think Joe Rodon's the main absentee, but I think Bennett's a really good addition, and fingers crossed he can do what Joe Rodon's done last few years.
Yeah. And then just looking at specific players then, who are going to be the danger men for Swansea on Saturday from a Rovers perspective?
I think definitely Andreu. He scored 18 goals last season, 7 assists in all competitions. He scored against Blackburn, of course, twice last season. Once from the penalty spot and one from a corner from a header. So I think you Blackburn fans who are watching this will know Andreu's threat. He's a very good player at this level. We did buy for £20 million from West Ham when we were in the Premier League he's a big threat. Of course, our wing backs will be a threat. I think Jake Beardle will be back in the team. He's got almost assists this season, 3 or 4, I believe. Con Roberts, very quick pace fullback. So I think they're our main 3 threats, and I'd probably go for Jan Danda potentially. He made his first start Tuesday, and against Stoke, he looked really bright. He's this type of player who gets a free run in midfield, doesn't really have a position. He can pick up them little pockets of space and pass the ball out to each striker, and he can crack a ball as well.
Yeah. And if there's any areas of weakness that Rovers could exploit, where do you think that's going to be?
I definitely think it's the counter-attack, the midfield. I think we've got Matt Grimes, who captain, who does like to do one too many of the not so easy passes and does lose the ball. We've seen away to Coventry 2 weeks ago, tried playing a long ball from the midfield, intercepted, and Coventry went on to score from a pretty easy chance. So I think if you can get those numbers in midfield, stop a passing game, get some players on Matt Grimes to stop our passes, and I think you'll see a few mistakes from the captain and potentially capitalise on it.
Yeah. And then just a little bit on the flip side, but sticking with Rovers, what's your general view on Rovers and also the start that we've had this season? Do you think there's anyone that Swansea fans are going to be fearing in particular?
Well, I do actually like Blackburn. I think they play a decent style of play. I know a lot of fans are sometimes, frustrated with Tony Mowbray. They don't think he's the right manager to get them into the top 6. But I think he's a good manager at this level. He's not going to get you relegated. He'll keep you into the top half, 10 pushing on. And of course, I think every time you do a preview, everyone's going to say this man, but it's got to be Adam Armstrong. 9 goals, I think, this season already. He's in my fantasy team. So, if you are the score, there is only one I want to score this weekend for you. But no, really good player, quick as well, can have a shot. And I think Harvey Elliott, scored his first goal against Coventry, I think, last week. He's a very good creative player, young as well. So I think with a lot of, Cooper will probably know him from his time. So I'm going to go for Adam Armstrong as Harvey Elliott as your real big threats from a Swansea fan of it.
Yeah. And we've had a few comments actually just whilst you've been talking, Reese. So Nick D here, we need to tackle the question, is Armour all of that? I'm sure that's said in jest. Absolutely, he's made a flying start, and certainly you've picked that out as your player that you're fearing there, Reese. And then L Kimberley 92 just with a couple of comments here. The more Reese talks, the more I feel he's talking about Rovers fullbacks driving forward and then the inability to deal with the counter attack. Yeah, we got hurt in particular by Reading in our last game out with that counter attack going forward. Okay. So then I was looking at Rovers and Swansea links going into the game, Reese. There are 2 solid links and then 1 more tedious link that I've come up with. The first is Casey Palmer, who really did flatter to deceive at Rovers, despite coming with a good reputation when we loaned him from Chelsea in 2018-19. I saw he scored in your 2-0 victory last time out. What sort of impression has he made at Swansea so far?
Well, he's not had many chances. I think he's come on as a sub 2 or 3 times because last week we faced Bristol City, and of course he can't face the parent club. Tuesday night when he came on, he made a great tackle on James McLean, and of course a lot of people do not like James McLean, myself included, with that. And he just came on and swiped McLean. So he got a yellow for that, and to really put the cherry on the cake, the ball came over the top. He was 1-on-1, and he knew Angus Gunn, the Stoke City goalkeeper, was going to wipe him and take him out. But he had a lot of. He was strong, really. He's pretty dead, and he knew he was going to get wiped out. Scored his first goal, so he looks quite a strong player, creative player. He's not started a game for us, so he potentially could start against his former club in you guys Saturday. But Casey Palmer, from what I've seen of him, he looks a decent player. Once or twice I've seen him pick the wrong option when there's a better option going forward, but he's still only 23 years old. I think he can get better. So I don't think he'll start this weekend. I definitely think he'll come on, and hopefully for us, he can make an impact from the bench.
Is it a permanent sign-in, Palmer, for you guys?
No, it's just a straight-up loan. No option to buy. It was just a replacement because we couldn't get Harry Wilson, obviously, with the card. So Keith Palmer's the last deal. But I know Bristol City do have an option to recall in January as well.
Sure. And just picking up a comment from Nick D here, we're better than Casey Palmer now. Certainly, I think Casey Palmer would struggle to get in our front 4 and the way that we play it now. And he wasn't someone that impressed me, actually, when he was at Rovers. He may do better for you, Reese, at Swansea. So the second player that I found a link is Matt Grimes, who was on loan at Rovers from Swansea in 2016, and he made 13 appearances on loan for Rovers. I was looking 7 assists last season, you captain, and I think I'm right in saying he played near enough every minute of last season. How
Every single
important?
minute,
Yeah, how important is Matt Grimes to your side?
I say he's very important. He's the main passer out from the midfield to get the ball from the defence forward to the attack. As you were saying, he's very fit. He's not had an injury since playing at the club. I think since since last season actually, he played every single minute. I think he was only one of 2 players to do that. Didn't get substituted again. Still every minute. So fitness wise, there could be a question on him. Should he be taken off? But captain. He's not the sort of captain to be giving arm's length and shouting. But he's more of a captain to bit of a quieter captain, but do their role on the pitch. So I think Grimes, I think it was our Leeds as well that didn't really impress at Blackburn or Leeds. But I think he's matured with age and he's really got down to championship level. I know relegated club Watford wanted him for £10 million, which says a lot about him. His price range has gone up magnificently. But I think goal scoring is definitely not part of his game. If he has a free kick, then it's just going to hit the wall. That's one thing he does need to improve on, is his set pieces. They're just really, really poor. But overall, I think Grimes is a very good midfielder. Once, like I said before, once or twice he does pick the wrong option, give the ball away, but 9 out of 10 times he picks the right option. It's a good ball.
Yeah, he was certainly very young when we had him on loan. I think he was only 20 and you were still in the Premier League at that point. He looked technically a good player when we had him. I don't think he influenced too many of our games. I could be mistaken, but certainly a lad that's got lots of technical ability. And when I was at the Liberty Stadium last season, you could just see him pulling the strings in that game against us as well. So, no, I do like Grimes, and still only 25 as well. It does feel like he's been around for a long time, so still quite young. So Reece, sorry, another more tedious link with this one, I'm afraid, is Ryan Manning. He was heavily linked with Rovers in pre-season, and it actually led to Mowbray denying that we had the funds to buy him. We did eventually sign Barry Douglas on loan for that left-back spot. How's he started life at Swansea, and do you think he's going to pose a threat to us?
Well, he's only played 1 game at the moment out of a possible 3, I believe. He made his debut Tuesday night, and I thought he made a good impact. Left, which is always a good thing. Apparently, his set pieces are very good, but we've not been given the chance to see it yet. I thought he got up the pitch really well Tuesday. He's quite quick as well, so he recovered very good as well. I don't think he'll actually start Saturday, though. I think we'll bring Jake Bidwell back in, but he's really good competition to ex-QPR players. I know QPR fans, in the summer before this summer we signed him, apparently QPR wanted the range of $3 million for him, and we picked him up for a fee of around £250,000. So we've got a really good bargain there, and I think he's going to be a really good option off the bench if one of our fullbacks get injured. So if he does come on, or if he does start, I think he could cause an impact with his deliveries.
Yeah. And just to pick up 3 comments here from Nick D. Here's a virtual hug for you, Nick. There you go. You can have a hug. And yes, it is a Rovers brew, 6yardsout.com. Reece, this question is for you, though. Is Nathan Dyer still playing for Swansea? Always found him dangerous.
Unfortunately, Nick, he has left the club. I think it was 9 years at the club, so he's a free agent. No club has signed him or given him a trial there. So I think he is still training with the club, as he's a big servant, so we can help him get fit. But I think Dyer is 33 years of age now, Nick, so I don't think he'd be causing much problems. Didn't play much last season, and I think his wages were still Premier League players. So would be interesting to see what club he goes at, potentially a lower league championship club, such as maybe a Wickham, a Luton, somewhere like that. But no, he's not asked anymore. And if he did still play for us, I don't think he'd cause a problem because we have improved in that area.
Sure. Thank you for that, Nick. If there's any other comments, Rovers fans, we will be ending the stream very shortly. So any other comments, any other questions for Reece or myself, please hit them in the comments box. But Reece, we have reached the part of the show where I put our guests on the spot. So I'd like 2 things from you if I can. A prediction for the game, score prediction, and then a prediction for the season. And you can cover that hopes or expectations. So if we start with the game first.
Well, for the game, both sides, well, especially Blackburn, you're a very high scorer team. As one of the Blackburn fans put in the comment section, you get exposed from the counter attack, so do we. So I think this is going to be a really good game Saturday. I don't think defending is going to be a key part of the game, so I'm going to go for high scoring 3-2 Swansea win. I think you're going to take the lead twice in the game. I think you're going to go 1-0 up with Adam Armstrong. I think we'll get a goal just for half-time 1-1. I think you'll get an early goal second half. I think we're just going to get 2 goals late on. So I'm going to go for a classic 3-2 Swansea home win.
Okay, and don't worry, I don't put you completely on the spot. I offer my own prediction, and actually, Mark, you've predicted the same as me. I'm feeling a 2-2 draw in this one. We struggled on Tuesday night against Reading with a central midfielder to break the lines, and it sounds like Joe Rothwell might not play in the game, and we might just be struggling to break those lines again. So whether we've got enough to actually go and win the game remains to be seen, but I do think there'll be goals. I think both of us are potentially going to go at each other a little bit, and I think just as a side in general, for the last year or so, I think that we've looked quite dangerous away from home. So I'm saying a 2-2 draw. We haven't won at the Liberty Stadium before either. It is only 3 games, but yeah, we've not won there either.
So you and Mark were for the same score as February when we played you.
That's right, yes, which was a bit of a gut wrencher for Swansea. That was actually my last Rovers game in a stadium, believe it or not.
I remember Danny Graham missed a penalty, so...
That's right, yeah, that was my last game at Ewood Park, and I guess it was a lot of people's last game at Ewood Park, and yeah, that was a deeply frustrating game, actually, and that penalty miss, you thought it was all over, and bit of an unlucky deflection on Swansea's part, wasn't it, from that Bradley Johnson shot. So, Reese, your prediction for the season then, and you can cover that as what you think will happen, what you're hoping will happen, either or.
I'll go for a bit of both. What I'm hoping for is I just hope we get top 6 again, maybe last day, get 6th place. I don't think we got enough to get top 2. I think the likes of Watford, Bournemouth, Norwich have too good of a squad for that. I don't think we'll get 3rd, 4th or 5th even, just because of our squad depth isn't the best, and sometimes we lack consistency. So what I'm hoping for is 6th, but realistically, I think we're going to come short. I think I originally put us in 8th place, so I'm going to stick with 8th place. I know a few Blackburn fans might be saying, "Oh, why? How are we so negative if 3rd?" But I think we haven't versed any like the big teams yet, such as Bournemouth, Watford, Norwich, even a Reading. So we've not versed any hard teams so far. But I think Blackburn's going to be a really tough test, especially when we got Brentford midweek and Norwich next Saturday. So there's no disrespect to Blackburn, but out of those 3 games, this is definitely the most winnable one, just because it's a home as well. So I'm going to predict us to finish 8th overall.
8th. Well, we have had Mark Whittle here again. I also think Swansea will finish in the top 6 come May. Reese, I think you're right about the clubs. I actually think the table's starting to take shape quite scarily, even after 8 games. When you see the sides that are up there, Norwich are up there, Watford are up there, Bournemouth are up there, Brentford aren't too far off. Millwall have got into there as well. So, interesting that you're thinking that you're going to come just outside. It's also where I've got Rovers. I've got us as 9th. Just another question here, Reese, if I can. Daniel Wood, something tells me Armstrong will struggle against these 2 centre-backs. Is it going to be, firstly, is it going to be 3 centre-backs you play? And how will they deal with the pace of Armstrong, do you think?
Yeah, Dan, it's going to be a 3 centre-backs. So we play a 5-3-2 formation or a 3-5-2 going forward. So we've got Ben Cabango, who's a Welsh international. We've got Geehy, Mark Hughes, a Chelsea youngster and England 21 international. And then we've got Ryan Bennett, who's obviously senior, really, experienced in that. So I think, Armstrong, pace at the back is okay. We've got 2 quite quick centre-halves, but I think Bennett will be the main man marking Armstrong. And, Bennett, what I've seen from him so far is he's struggled on the pace side of things. So if you can get some pace up against Ryan Bennett, potentially have a turn and shot then. But I think Armstrong will score at least 1 Saturday, so I don't think he'll do too bad.
Brilliant. Well, if there's no other comments from Rovers fans, we will draw it to a close there. So, Reese, thanks ever so much for joining us. You've given us a real good insight on Swansea and some of those players that we might not have come across this season as well. You've gone for a 3-2 victory for Swansea. I've gone for a 2-2 draw. I probably agree with you about the playoffs, actually. I think Swansea, maybe a bit like Rovers, might just come up short, but do you know what? It's anyone's guess, isn't it, for the Championship this season? Oh, and it's just wide open this season, so I can make a case for lots of clubs. So what we do know is we're all going to be in it, and if you time your run to perfection, like you did last season, you can scrape in the top 6, and then who knows what happens from there. So Rovers fans, thank you for joining us live on the other side tonight. If you are watching this on a catch-up, please put some comments on the video. Do you agree with Reese's prediction or my prediction? You know, what have you heard from Reese? Anything that you're fearful of? Do hit us with those comments on the video. Please, of course, follow us on Twitter, rovers_chat on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rovers Chat, to get all of the latest content that we are pushing out. And we will be live again on Saturday with a pre and post-match stream. So look out for that. So, Reese, we will end it there. Thanks ever so much for joining us. And Rovers fans, we will... No worries. Rovers fans, we will see you again soon. Thank you.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.